I'm Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
How is the weather, buddy? How's the weather out there? Is there a nor'easter? Have you heard anything about rain tonight? What's your take?
It's just a little gray outside. I think, all these guys have played in rain before if there is some rain. So, I think it'll be just fine it'd be football weather, like it's fall, a little overcast. Hopefully it stays dry, but I don't expect it to be a huge issue tonight.
Brad, one of the things it could be is the Bears' ability to stop the run. Grady Jarrett would help. Austin Booker might even help. What's the status of those two guys as far as you know?
Yeah, Grady Jarrett's out. He with that right knee injury, and we'll see what his status is on a short week coming up because he was held out of practice all this week. Austin Booker's questionable, along with Travis Homer. Homer and Booker both remain on injured reserve, and the Bears have about 6 more hours to make a roster move if they want to activate them in time for the game. That'll have to be done by 3 p.m. Central Time. So do they create a roster spot for Booker and Homer? Here's the thing you have to consider with those guys is they've been out for a substantial period of time. Booker since the second preseason game that was back about August 17th, and Homer with a similar amount of time. And they've had one practice in full pads last week. And people might scoff, well, why not more? Well, that's a collective bargaining agreement. You get a maximum of 1 practice in full pads per week. So are they to a point where the coaching staff feels good that they're ready to go out there and give it a go? I don't know. They were listed as full participants. We'll have to see. They may want them to have a little more runway before returning them to the 53-man roster. We'll find out, like I said, and shoot a little bit less than 6 hours at this point.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Estwing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years. Estwing.com. Is the kicker up and running and back?
Yeah, kicker should be good unless something happens since Saturday. The kicker should be ready to go. Cairo Santos. In fact, the injury report, with the exception of Grady Jarrett's, in pretty good shape, especially compared to what people wondered about earlier in the week when a bunch of names popped up. A lot of those guys fell off the report, didn't get an injury designation. So I think by and large, they're in pretty good shape health-wise. Washington, not as fortunate. Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver, out. And so that will affect things for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders.
So, Brad, stay with me here. So the Bears are the second worst team in the league stopping the run. TJ Edwards comes back today, and he hasn't played. He hasn't played all season.
He played at Detroit.
Okay, he tried playing Detroit.
He played a half,
and then he came back. He came out.
Yeah,
coming back the way Tremaine Edmonds played last time out. I might look at him in the middle, and I might put Tremaine Edmonds outside, and I might try a combination of things to get the most out of my run defense. Do you think that's being considered? Do you think that Dennis Allen has any other tweaks defensively? Because this is a team that has struggled to stop the run and needs to do something to maybe change the look, change the approach.
Yeah, well, the first thing you're going to get to change the look or approach is you're going to get some new able bodies out there in TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon, who they talked about, him being one of those high-end nickel cornerbacks that can make an impact in not only the pass defense but the run defense as well. So that's the first factor, is you've got 2 guys that you've been counting on, since the coaching staff arrived, that should be on the field and help them out. But the run defense has been miserable, and not only have they been hit for a lot of yards per game, the explosive plays are debilitating for them. They're giving up 6.15 yards per carry. I wrote it a week ago, guys. There hasn't been a team in the entire league that has allowed 5.5 yards per attempt over the course of an entire season. And we're dealing with a short sample size here, though. 5.5 yards per attempt since the 1959 Washington Redskins. And the Bears right now are at 6.15, so they're almost 3/4 of a yard above that. It's got to get better. I would think, along with the new personnel, they're open to just about anything because it's been bad. And I thought Dennis Allen did a decent job of kind of characterizing the issues the other day when he said when they've given up the amount of yards and big plays they have, that it's at all three levels of the defense, right? Mm-hmm. It's the defensive line, it's the linebackers, and then the secondary has not played the run either. The coaches have talked a little bit about tackling being an issue. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen a ton of missed tackles. I think what I've seen more has been, guys maybe not using proper leverage and things of that nature. But it's all got to get better if you want to slow down a Washington team that entering this week was tops in the league in rushing.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Plumbers 911 Plumbing Emergency. Call the plumbing professionals. Available 24/7 at 1-833-PLUM-911. We know that when asked about last year and the Fail Mary play, Ben Johnson just talked about new team, different team, etc.
Yeah.
Does the same thing apply to the fact that the Bears have gone, they've lost like 10 of 11 out of the bye, and Ben Johnson won a couple 40-point performances by his offense in Detroit the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's all worth referencing. I don't know the impact it'll have. The players don't care one bit about the Fail Mary last year. It's not a revenge game for them. Like, they laugh at that. They know they did it to themselves last year, right? And the past is dead and buried to them. They're moving forward. In terms of the bye week, I had an interesting conversation with Cole Kmet last week and referenced the fact that the Lions, twice out of the bye, with Ben as the play caller there, put up video game numbers in terms of points and things of that nature, and it kind of piqued his curiosity a little bit. But because I said, do you wonder what he's got cooking in the lab with extra time to prepare? And he said that as far as he was concerned, it was trying to improve on things that the Bears were doing. He was curious if Johnson might have something, but he thought that coaches should probably try to take advantage of a little downtime during the bye, like the players, because this is the start of a real long stretch for them, right? 13 in a row. They don't have a Thursday game in there, which will give you kind of a mini bye. So I'm curious to see what it looks like tonight, because the offense has made some gains, and we'll see if they get to 40. They'll really have something going, and they would obviously probably win the game unless they give up even more rushing yards, right?
Yeah, possibly. Do you think you lit a fire under Montez Sweat? And for people that didn't read your scathing rebuke in the Chicago Tribune, what did you have to say about the Tez effect?
I think the thing with Sweat is that the production has been lacking for an extended period of time now. And Sweat played through a ton of injuries last year. He was on the injury report with 3 different body parts, and not listed was the elbow, which was an issue for him as well. So you're talking about 4 injuries, answered the bell every week last season. He played in all 17 games. Gets healthy over the offseason, shows up for the voluntary offseason program, which he in the past has not volunteered for, looked good in training camp. And so you're saying, okay, this guy could be back, because with what they did to acquire him in terms of the trade and the contract, he's not just a centerpiece for your defense. He's a centerpiece for your roster. And they called it the Tez effect when he first got here. Ryan Poles called him a multiplier, meaning he makes those guys around him better. And the elite players that are getting top dollar as edge rushers in the league, they're the same thing. They make the players around them better while racking up their own statistics. He hasn't racked up any numbers since the start of last season. Entering this week, 68 players have more sacks than Montez Sweat, and 69 have more quarterback hits. And so you can talk about the quarterback getting rid of the ball quickly and teams scheming against them. High-paid defensive ends, like standard fare is double teams, chip blocks, slide protection. Like Montez isn't getting special treatment that isn't being given to J.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, you name your edge rusher that's making a boatload of money. So the Bears have an issue here because his contract is averaging $24.5 million per year, and it looked like a deadline deal gone right when the trade was made. When you saw the impact he had on that defense in the second half of 2023, he hasn't been the same player since then.
Yeah, well, he'll need to be with them tonight. How do all the injuries for Washington feed into the Bears being able to deploy people in a different way, maybe helping out with the run a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge deal. Like Washington's, they're just gonna run their offense, and the Bears have to be able to. They have to be assignment sound, I think, in stopping the run, and that means it's 11-on-11 run defense because the quarterback can hurt him too, even though he's not at 100% with the brace on his knee. But this isn't like preparing to stop a potent rushing attack of the Detroit Lions, where Jared Goff isn't going to run away from anyone. Daniels is going to make the Bears be honest, especially on the backside of plays. Like you've got to account for him, or he could slip outside and it's 10, 15 yards. Hopefully not anything like that happens. So the run defense has got to be better. Listen, I think the takeaway streak that the defense for Dennis Allen is on is going to be key. Like they've done a really nice job of that to this point. The Bears have been excellent on third down. We've talked about that. Opposing offenses, 3rd and 5+, I believe, are 3 for 25 against the Bears. And this is a Washington offense that's been really bad on third down. Like Washington's less than 33% on third down. So can the Bears continue that trend and get some positive field position for the offense?
You really think that last year's loss serves as no motivational opportunity or purpose for this year's team, given all that came after that and given how that must have felt to be in that locker room at that time? You think the players are laughing that off?
No, I don't think they're laughing it off, but I think that there isn't the bandwidth to even consider it, Dave. Like you've got Ben Johnson here now, who has zero interest in talking about anything that happened before he arrived. You've got other new coaches, like they're all brand new. Like what happened in the past, good, bad, indifferent, or in this case, really ugly and pathetic. I think they're focused on what's here. I think the coaches have done a really good job of getting the players to buy into that same thing. I mean, maybe do they use it as a reference point before the game? I guess possibly, but like these guys are pros, and they shouldn't need the motivation of a laughable loss with a ton of stuff that went wrong beyond the Tyreek Stevenson play to get up and be ready for a primetime appearance this evening coming off a bye.
How did you pick it? What do you think happens tonight?
I think it's a close game. I think it's a bit of a toss-up. I went ahead and sided with the Commanders because I think they've been better at the line of scrimmage. We talked about the Bears' struggles stopping the run, guys. They also, haven't rushed the passer a lick. That's been really lacking. We'll have to wait and see if Austin Booker is able to join them. But you've got bigger problems if you're counting on your fifth-round pick from a year ago that had 1.5 sacks in 2024 being a linchpin to your pass rush to unlocking that thing. So I went with the Commanders 27-24, but I think this could be a close ball game.
Great stuff. Have a safe trip out there.
Appreciate it, Brad.